Gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about sleep and sleepwear for the extra large man here on Big Pretty Man. Hi, and welcome back to Big Pretty Man, channel for the extra large man who wants to live his life large and in charge. I'm your host, Timothy Big Pretty Crowe. I'm a wardrobe and lifestyle consultant for the extra large man. Okay guys, about a year ago I did a video on sleep apnea, and I talked about how I have sleep apnea and I have to sleep with a CPAP machine. And in that video I talked a bit about exactly what sleep is and how important it is to our life and our health. However, I started thinking, I've done a lot of videos on different ways to dress in different situations, everything from summer dress to winter dress to fall dress to coats to more formal dress, business dress. I've even covered underwears and socks, but what I haven't covered is exactly what we wear before we go to bed and go to sleep, and also what we wear when we sleep. So I thought we'd tackle that here. Now first I'd like to start off by talking about, once again, just how important it is to get the proper amount of good sleep. Now, if you can go back to, and I'll put it here, you can go back and watch my video on I talked about sleep apnea and the dangers of it. But one thing I should emphasize is that getting a good night's sleep is something your body must have. Sleep is something we cannot go without. And if you don't sleep, you die. It's that simple. And also, if you do not get the proper amount of sleep and sleep correctly, it's going to be detrimental to your health over time. You will have bad results that will show up pretty quick, and in the long run, it can actually lead to some very fatal conclusions. It's that simple. Now, first of all, let's say how much sleep that we should be getting. According to the CDC, the average adult out over 25 should be getting between 7 and 9 hours sleep. Most people say 8. Now, the average person in this day and time isn't getting that amount of sleep. They're going on about somewhere between 5 and 6 hours, some as low as 4. And I understand this. We live in very hectic times. We live in economically challenging times where people are having to put in long hours. There's a lot of stress. People are stressed in their jobs. And the first thing that we sacrifice in our time is time to sleep. And actually, that is a bit counteractive, because ultimately you're going to be less productive and get less done when you miss out on sleep. Now, why is sleep so vitally important? Well, as I talked about in that video, and I will put a link to where you can watch it, I'll talk about CPAP and sleep apnea. But the reason that sleep overall for everyone is so important is because when you go to sleep, your brain and body kind of go into kind of a screensaver mode, as well as a self-diagnostic and self-repair while you sleep. When you go to sleep, your conscious mind it goes into the background. The subconscious mind comes a little more forward. You go and it also throws your body into more of an autopilot. Your breathing slows down. You start to lose body heat. Your digestion slows down, as well as your brain. It also goes almost into, like I said, a screensaver, wherein the conscious brain is kind of shut down, and with the subconscious brain is left to more run things, and also to de-stress the brain and take care of certain maintenance that the brain needs. For instance, while you sleep, you are taking memories from the day. Short-term memories are being uploaded to long-term memories, and your brain is sorting out what needs to stay and what needs to go by importance and several other factors. Also, your brain is releasing a lot of different of chemicals, a lot of different hormones that are helping to kind of soothe the brain, and the brain is going into its, like I said, its self-maintenance. It's releasing a lot of stress. It's sorting a lot of things out. So like a computer, this is its time to reboot. It's shutting down and rebooting everything. Also, it's also using this time to heal and work on the body. Your blood pressure lowers. That takes pressure off of your heart. Your breathing becomes more rhythmic and shallow. That gives some relief to your lungs and your chest. But also, in this rhythmic breathing, it's taking a lot of oxygen, and that oxygen is enriching your blood and going straight to the brain, enriching the brain during this time period. Also, the body is releasing a lot of hormones and producing more proteins. Those hormones actually help to repair muscle, and also, and which is vitally important. That's the reason if you don't get enough sleep, you ever notice, you end up getting kind of sore. You can crick your neck real easy, or pull muscle real easy, or get strained muscles. It's because your body didn't get a chance to go through its daily maintenance. So now you're a little clunky. So, and also, your body needs this process to take place. It needs this process for itself to rest, to repair, to reboot, and de-stress. So, and if you don't have that, that can be very dangerous. But another thing, because your subconscious brain's taking over and it's sorting a lot of things out in your brain, that a lot of mental things that even we don't completely understand. That one thing that we do is we go into dream. And during REM sleep, we dream, and dreaming seems to be almost the exhaust system and the meditation of the brain. It's reflecting how your brain is sorting things out, working through things emotionally and psychologically, and it's and that's coming, and that is being released through your dreams. And if you don't dream, you can go insane. Flat and simple. They've made a couple of Star Trek episodes about that. But yes, dream deprivation can actually end up causing you to have hallucinations, and over time it can actually lead to impaired judgment and even dementia. And also, it's been shown that lack of sleep can also even can be a contributing factor to early onset senility or early onset Alzheimer's, because you're just not giving your brain the time to rest, and it's going into overload all the time. You only rev an engine so long before it gives out. So, once again, sleep and the right amount of sleep and the proper, comfortable sleep is so vitally important to all of us in our health. Well, now that we've talked about the importance of sleep and getting the proper amount of sleep, let's now talk about how to facilitate a good night's sleep, and maybe even do it with a little bit of style. So, first off, once again, you need to make sure you're getting the proper hours of sleep. If that means having to go a little bit bed a little bit earlier than you normally would, should definitely do so. You may have to spare that extra time watching TV. Also, when you do decide to go to sleep, you should shut everything off. There should be no outside, any outside influence. It should be taken down as much as you can. That means turn off the TV, turn off the radio, turn off the sound equipment, and that's supposed to be relaxing you. Actually, all of that's been shown to actually disrupt your sleep, because you're hearing that and your mind's trying to process it. You want to give your brain a break. So that means to lessen everything with the senses. You want it to be you want it dark, or as dark as you can take it. Not to affect your eyes. You want it as quiet, not to affect your hearing. So those are those two senses especially are very important. Now, also the sense of feel. And that's what's going to bring me to my next point, and that one that's a little bit of a debate with a lot of people, and that is what to wear when you're sleeping. Well, for me personally, there are a lot of people out there. First, let me say there are a lot of people out there that like to wear pajamas. But however, and they come in a lot of different varieties. You can get them, more the typical, shirt and pants. Usually they're made out of cotton, possibly linen. Usually they're like a cotton polyester blend. And a lot of people like to wear those when they sleep. Me personally, I've never liked to wear clothing when I'm sleeping. The way I look at it, I wear clothing all day long. when I go to bed, I want to feel a lot more free. I prefer not to wear as little clothing as possible, and if I can get away with it, no clothing at all. And we can talk about, and actually there are some benefits to sleeping without wearing clothing. Number one, it doesn't pull and bind you while you sleep. When you twist, and who needs a wedgie in the middle of the night? Twisted shirts and all of that. But also, when you sleep, as I said earlier, your body is actually releasing body heat. It's part of the computer and the system cooling down. So if you're wearing too much clothing, that's holding in that body heat, and it's going to disrupt your sleep. So being as loose and free as you possibly can be is very important. Of course, women wear nightgowns to bed, or that's the traditional thing, which is actually a better choice than wearing the more modern female pajamas they wear. And for men, the old-fashioned pajama set is really kind of very passe. They have come out with much more modern versions of pajamas, which a lot of times it's just basically like boxer shorts and a shirt, or at least loose fitting shirt. And if that's what you want to wear, then fine. However, one thing that I would discourage is people who want to sleep in their underwear, and especially if that underwear is briefs. Now, if you watch my video on underwear and socks, you will see that I talked about that. I was talking about that underwear can actually pull on the scrotum and hold in heat, which can actually affect your sperm count, and also can affect other parts of your health. But even more than that, something I didn't mention is if you're wearing, especially the tighty whities, and they're all pulled up and tight, and you're in bed, especially if you're under blankets, and you have on pajamas, you're creating a perfect, dark, warm, enclosed environment for bacteria, for funguses, and even yeast infection. And we especially for us extra large men, that's very important to understand. That can develop very quickly, especially in the summer months. So a couple of things on that. One, you should probably keep your room a little cooler than normal. If some people like their house sit around 70, 72 degrees. Maybe in the bedroom you want to sit down to more like 68. Compensate with the temperature with a light blanket in the summer, and when it comes, if you're going to wear anything on the body, if you are going to have to wear pajamas, then definitely wear something like a pair of boxers. Do not wear briefs to bed. Give yourself something. Allow your crotch area to air out. And if you don't need a blanket, take it off. Allow that part of your body needs to dry out. It's a very sweaty part of the body, lots of glands. You don't need it. It's already dark. You don't need to promote growth of things. You don't need things growing on you, while you sleep. So definitely avoid wearing briefs. And if you have to wear something, wear boxers. Or if possible, don't wear anything at all. Sleep in the raw. That's what I do. Ain't nothing on under this robe. I know that's intriguing, isn't it? I'm also lying. I'm wearing something. But anyway, sleep naked. If you can sleep nude, I still think that is the best way, especially in the summer and spring months. The room's a little cool. You can throw a blanket on. That can, a light blanket. That can your body's free. You're able to release heat. You're not developing. You don't have a petri dish between your legs. You're getting aired out. I think that's the best choice. However, now if you do want to wear pajamas, and I know some men do, you can go back to a little bit of style. So maybe trying to avoid most pajamas. Like I said, are made out of cotton or polyester blend. Try to avoid that. If you can get something maybe in a linen, that's better. Linen is much more breathable. And even though I know that Hugh Hefner really promoted it his entire life, stay away from silk pajamas. Why? Because silk is not very breathable. It's actually a very hot fabric. It's going to hold in heat. And once again, holding in heat is not good for your sleep cycle. and also it can promote, fungal growths and different and different types of ailments like that for big guys that we don't need. They may look nice, may look fancy, make you feel like you're running Playboy with playmates running around, but not really. It's just making you a hot mess, hot sweaty mess under all that, and we don't need that. So avoid the silk pajamas. Now, I do understand that a lot of times, even if you are used to sleeping in the nude, then there are certain times that could really be very inconvenient. Number one is if you're living in a house with other people, that you run more of a chance of them run across you nude. Also, especially, and this was the time that I really stopped sleeping nude for quite a while, was when you have small children. And they have a tendency to want to come and jump in bed with mommy and daddy. And it's not good if daddy's laying there buck naked. Of course. So, when I had my sons at home, and they were smaller, I always usually wore either a pair of shorts. That's another alternative. A loose pair of knee shorts to bed, or in the cooler weather, I would sometimes wear a light pair of cotton jogging pants. They, light loose fitting. I would wear those, usually without a shirt. However, another piece of, if you really do feel like you need to wear something when you go to bed, one thing that I would recommend, and somebody may balk on this, but I still think it's the best alternative, is a good old-fashioned men's nightshirt. I know it looks like a gown, but it's not a gown. It's just a big long shirt. I think they're kind of perfect. You got to, they're very loose. They're not going to, they're not going to hold in as much heat on the body. Where they're open at the bottom, if you're, you don't have to wear underwear at that point, so that that can help keep things aired out down below. Same as same as a nightgown can help with women with their issues down there. It can actually be helpful to men, to help to keep things dried out and keep the air circulating. And if you do have to get up and go to the bathroom in it, well, you're wearing like a gown. You're wearing this long nightshirt, and believe it or not, I still think they look very masculine. I don't see them as looking like a gown. I see them as looking like a long shirt. I think it's still a very masculine look. And the other thing that you're definitely going to need is what I'm wearing right now, a robe. Having a robe is just essential for a man. If somebody comes to the door, you're in bed, even if you got the nightshirt on, or if you happen to be naked, throwing on the robe, you've got it. If you're in the shower, and you need to get something to throw, pass by people, you can throw on the robe. It's very convenient to have if you have company at your house, or if you have children in your house, and you need to move around quick without getting fully dressed to do it. Then you need a robe. And you can even sit down and have breakfast and all that. And and someone does come to the door, if you're wearing a nice robe, that's very acceptable and actually looks quite good. And if you wear a nice robe, you can even look a little suave. Now, I actually have two robes that I wear. This is more my summer robe. It is lighter cotton and lighter cotton blend, very very thin, as you can see, and it works quite well for summer months. And you, of course, obviously want it to hang down to at least to your knees or a little below. It's very comfortable. It's very loose. And that's something I'd recommend. Now, finding robes for extra large men can be a bit difficult. Place I would recommend once again is DXL. They actually have some very nice robes. And of course, you want to get them if you like, maybe go in and try them on, and make sure they're loose fitting, and that they can wrap all the way around you. Usually you want them about 2 sizes larger than you would have for your suit size. Kind of think like the same thing I've talked about with a trench coat or an overcoat. You want it to be maybe 1 size larger. But they're a good place to get a robe. And like I said, and I don't, in the summertime, or even in the spring, I just need something a little lighter that won't make me hot. However, in the winter, I wear a very different robe. I wear this robe, my fleece robe. Oh yes, this is the robe that I wear in the fall and the winter. And let me tell you, this a nice fleece robe. Not only is it super warm, so you coming out of the shower on a cold morning, you know, on those cold tiles, and you throw this on, oh, you just feel like you're wrapping yourself in 1,000 warm kittens. You know, you're just wrapping yourself in a heavenly warmth. It's almost like God's cradling you. You know, and with very soft and warm hands. Yeah, so, you know, and also I think a fleece robe, with the way that they drape and the way they hang and their thickness, I think that they actually look very fancy. They look very suave, and I think that because of their thickness, they look very manly. You know, you have that look of a more rugged man that's throwing on. You know, it almost looks like you're throwing on a big fur. You know, so you know it definitely gives a very masculine, strong look. You know, maybe show a little bit of the fur, you know what I'm saying? And actually I love this one. It's got the collar, which actually does help keep my neck warm, but also, you know, someone comes to the door and I have to talk to anyone. As you can see, I'm, you know, hi, how you doing? Yes, good morning. You know, thank you. Yes, bring the room service right in. This is once again, just because you're trying to be, you know, practical doesn't mean that you can't do it with some style, with a little flair. And I think that a nice fleece robe will definitely do that, and it actually will keep you quite warm. I actually do love this robe. I know when I got baptized, and I got out of that cool water, they draped this robe on me. It was like everybody was saying, because I'm known as a dresser, like, you know, Big Pretty, leave it to you to even at a baptism, you're soaking wet, you know, to throw on a fancy robe and look like you're Lord of the Castle. Of course. So yes, I'd highly recommend having two different robes. One for summer, like I said, something a little lighter and more cool, and then having something a little heavier for the winter months. And you know what? Even sometimes in the summer, you know, I'll even throw this on if I have to go to the door, because this just gives me a much more bulky, manly look. So yeah, it's one that I highly recommend. And like I said, you know, I could almost throw on a hat and this would almost be an outfit, wouldn't it? So get yourself a nice robe. If you got to wear a robe, get yourself a nice one. Well, folks, that's about all I've got for Sleep and the Extra Large Man. Just remember that even in these hectic times, and you know, where we're all overworked and full of stress, sleep is still vitally important to our health and overall well-being. And therefore, we want to be comfortable. And just because we're comfortable doesn't mean we can't show a little bit of suave style. And speaking of that, it's now past my bedtime, and I'm off to get myself some beauty sleep. So you get your beauty sleeps too, so that when you wake up, you'll stay pretty. Good night.